biography. What do you think? I look like a man that's in like a really cheap opera. Una fortiva lagrima negli occhi suoi spuntò, quelle stose giovani, i papiti sembrò. Mama. I've changed keys 3 times. Si mama, lo velo, lo velo.
Yoo-hoo! Did he tell you I was in here? This is very exciting. You're coming over to see me? I have just been beaten down. And baby, that's a big process. And I am in disguise. You know why? Because on my planet, Verini Veselka, in the planetary film star, a coffee cup. Yeah.
I was much too encouraged by my mom, Sue, to do creative things. I think when I was maybe 6 and my brother was 2, I had him playing Herod on the front porch with some of the cushions from our sofa that my mother allowed us to use. I think his big, well, he was only 2, so I believe his big line was "Kill that baby now," which is kind of, upsetting. But for, to make my brother do things like that, he turned out all right. She really embraced so many different religions. I believe coming from a Mormon background, you would want to run screaming toward any other, possible venue. No, that's a little constricted on my part, but speaking candidly as someone, professional actor, who has played the MC in Cabaret 3 times, Columbus, Ohio, Galveston, Texas, and Salt Lake City at the Pioneer Memorial. In that Candor Neb musical, the MC has to dress very much like a showgirl at the beginning of the second act. You haven't lived till you've seen, while you're being the showgirl, in the kick line, some nice Mormon man, almost every performance going, "Merle, look out, there's a man!"
I dreamed that someone just like you appeared one evening from out of the blue. Where I live.
Cumberland's called the Queen City because it was the second most populous, thriving industrial city to Baltimore's King City. Everyone knows that John Waters is now the king of Baltimore, but let's not digress. John, though, great guy, a real early Catholic, childhood friend of his, Robert Applegarth, and another childhood friend of his, Divine, Glenn Milstead. Bob and I lived together in a loft on Elizabeth Street when I was performing the role of Candide in a Broadway landmark revival that Hal Prince decided to resurrect. And you never knew who was going to come over for dinner or stay over for 4 months. We had Divine for a roommate for about 4 months while his 58th Street Madison secret penthouse was being formed. One time over breakfast, we're eating and those Steely Blues are looking at me, and in his white coveralls is looking at me, and I said, "What, Divine? What are you doing?" He goes, "Darling, when I look at you, it's like looking in a mirror." What are you going to do with that after breakfast? I remember Ricky Berkey. He was a stout boy. He once fell out of our apple tree and broke his arm inexorably. We all felt bad about it, but I was getting a better education from his sisters, one of whom went away to be a nun teacher. But at the time, they were teaching me what Catholic kids were learning. We were up on the back porch a very rickety 30s affair, you know, all wood all the time. They were always swabbing down the deck, very clean Catholics. And yeah, I learned, what are the vowels? The vowels are A, A, I, or U, and sometimes Y. But we didn't even, I don't think we got to that in the first three. I went to 3 first grades. This is a tough one. I wasn't doing very well in my chosen profession. In fact, I was kind of escaping from it. You know what I mean? I was kind of, oh, how shall I say, not myself. Buddy, I think we have company. By the hair of my chinny chin chin. Why don't you come in? Buddy, that means you too, big boy. This is Buddy Boy Baker. This is As Yet Empty Cup Productions. And this is Celebrity Table Talk. On today's show, we're going to take you all across the globe with culinary travel and recipes you can do at home. Well, if you're at home. If you're in Kathmandu, I guess you're going to eat curry. What are you going to eat in Kathmandu? Candide was this landmark revival directed by Harold Prince and stage designed by Eugene and Franny Lee, who went right on to Saturday Night Live. And Leonard Bernstein's music was kept. Harold Wheeler's book was brought in, and so were Maureen Brennan and me. We spent about 2 years of our life giving kisses. We did the show we became a hit. We thought we were just this musical that was in the attic. I even found a picture from Life magazine and Pictures that year, and she and I in the centerfold are kissing. Anyway, all that digression after a Theatre World Award for Promising Newcomer before my days as a culinary clinician. Jean Cocteau said that there's a male sex and a female sex, and yet again in 1932 in Paris, he thought perhaps a third sex. I thought, sign me up. I don't even know what that means. And at the time, I really didn't know what it means because I'd been married once. That was interesting. Anyway, I'm getting off my culinary challenge here. And back to our show. We have a bevy of fun today. We have tricolore rotini, but there's a dash of chicken broth. It's so low sodium. Keep those recipes in tow, which brings me back to stirring the pasta. I'm going to stir with a whisk because, you know, we're getting fancy around here. Huh? Okay? And it's doing what I wanted it to do. That's kind of rude, isn't it? I'm putting the lid on pea water. Let's all put the lid on pea water. No one will discuss pea water from now on at the meeting. Sharinda, even though you're new to this, we're still saying you may be a primogenitor, but no more references to pea water. Oh, you put it in the scallops. Oh, this is another matter altogether. Oh, I feel so poorly now that I've given Sharinda the onus, the kibosh on pea water. Come on down. Come on down to my place, baby. Come on down where we can play. Holy Toledo, I parked my Ultima 2014 way over in the El Barrio of Alphabet Ciudad. New York City. You know, all rap aside. Remember, girls, you're the only one in the kitchen. Our house is a very, very, very fine house. Don't give me attitude. If I hear one more person burst out in a caterwaul of frivolity, what do you think this does to my standing here in the kitchen? I love rock and roll. Shut up. What I had a problem with was learning how to take LSD before I ever smoked pot. That was kind of a little tricky. You know, like I said, off-campus activity, but that's way away from our cooking show. I am bound and determined to get the proof sheets of my friend Karen Vallon, as she is giving me great ideas to coordinate my book called Celebrity Table Talk, you know, while we're in the kitchen. My friend Karen Vallon, who we've known each other since I'm 15.
1962.
Yep. And this is me at some point in my career being all that in a bag of chips. It's been a wonderful summer. I played a silver dragon in Beauty and the Beast. Susan played Beauty, where the first weekend we had gone on a road trip. Some of the other people had borrowed a car from one of the techies of the Cape Playhouse. And we'd gone to Maine for the weekend, and on the way back, someone had rear-ended the Mustang, and we just had seconds to get out, and the car exploded. But anyway, we got back, and I'd had not food poisoning, silver poisoning, because the silver dragon that I was playing, the paint, they had put a couple layers of tights. Oh, this shall be all right. We'll just spray it while it's on your body. No, I had advanced poisoning that whole weekend while they cavorted on the sea, and then we came back and almost got killed in the car. Then we did the second weekend. Joe Raposo was the musical director who later wrote a musical for me, Raggedy Ann and Andy, for ITT's Richard Williams. I just have this one vignette, and then we can stop this senseless vignette. I made my debut, as I mentioned, in Swashbuckler, playing opposite Peter Boyle and Angelica Houston, who was also making her debut in the movies.
I had to Google a lot. I mean, just to make sure that I was spelling their names properly.
Well, it's awfully nice of you to do all this research
And you
help me be honest and stay honest.
Angelica Houston's first movie was Swashbuckler. Sorry, it wasn't.
It wasn't?
No.
I wish we had a parfait to serve you on today's culinary juxtaposition. Forays into places I've at, people I've met, and the foolishness that is to come of yet. And I just came across a picture of when I was a cherub at Northwestern. We were all hopefuls, and there's me hamming it up. I would like to show you my bedroom. Spent some speculative time wondering if my name should be Warhaft, oddly enough at a Lutheran school, Springfield, Ohio, thinking I was going to be a minister. I think I emulated the minister's daughter back in Cumberland with the distraction that maybe I'd just be like her dad, the Lutheran minister. But that, like I said, that's a Shaggy Dog story. Well, he ain't even Shaggy. I lived in the Greenwich Village, McDougal Street area, right by the Cafe Figaro, and so you got food all the time and all hours of the day, and you could learn scripts. It was very bohemian. It was the last vestiges of Greenwich Village La Boheme. I had a great time. I wish that I hadn't had a leak in the apartment above me, because it created quite the hepatic stir and caused hepatitis of an ilk on yours truly. I think I went into, fencing class after I was diagnosed. Good old NYU hospital. They said, St. Vincent's, God bless them, said food poisoning, composine. No, hepatitis. And then I went to South Africa. I was in a multiracial production as the only American. By the way, we were banned by the government because Mr. Mandela was still incarcerated. We got banned by the government because we were all colors of people holding each other's hands. And the choreographer, director, Mavis Taylor, said, we're going to go along with this for a minute and a half, and then we're going to change the choreography back to all of us holding hands. In Cape Town, I met this guy, and we befriended each other, and he even came to New York to live, and we had a wonderful time till the early 80s when he decided to go to heaven. Like as Candide sings, life is happiness indeed. I don't know if it was so happy in 1978 for me. Have I said too much? And somewhere in the back of my mind was Peggy Lee singing, is that all there is, my friend? Let's keep dancing. I'm boring the children. Everyone's a critic. Buddy, you would think with the amount of kibble that I give a guy
that he would feel so.
I know, it's just. You want to tell me about it? You could. You could tell me all about it. Buon appetito per tutti.
Are you making this up?
No.
What?
Wouldn't you
What is
like to be ablaze on some big Broadway sign in the great white ways? In my heart, he's the one holding the pig.
Can we take that again?